Hi. My best friend ate my hamster. Do you remember that as a paraphrase of a famous headline of Freddie Starr, who was purported to have eaten a sandwich containing a hamster back in 1986? It was a famous headline. It captured people's imaginations. It was obviously a prank, but it was very easily remembered and probably remains to this day one of the most memorable tabloid headlines of all time. Why do I talk about headlines? Today I want to talk about newsletters, in fact, and of course for any news a headline is paramount. Really powerful headlines bring people in. But the newsletters, many of you will start newsletters. I want to talk about the 3 C's of fabulous newsletters. The first C is consistency. If you're going to send out a newsletter and it looks different every time you send it out, that's going to throw your audience. They're not going to understand exactly who you are. You might do something quirky like that with a view to being different. It might be a specific campaign, but don't do it by mistake, as it were. Try and keep consistent in the way it presents. Consistent also in the timing. If you're going to send out a newsletter monthly, then make sure you send it out monthly. We often come across customers and businesses that say, yes, we do a newsletter. When was the last one? Some time ago. When's the next one? When I get around to it. That's not good enough. Your customers will notice inconsistencies like that. If you send them out regularly on the same day at the same time or some other regular way, then your customers will start to expect it. It'll be in front of mind and it'll be easier to be memorable in that consistency. And consistency in content. Not only the length should be similar from time to time, from issue to issue. If you send out a newsletter that is a few lines long one time and then the next time it comes out and it goes on for page after page, those sorts of inconsistencies are going to be noticed and will jar with your audience. Also the quality of the writing or the style of the writing. Make it about you. It doesn't have to be perfect, it should be you speaking. But if you have a quirky style, don't suddenly change that style 1 week or 1 month and make it a completely different style as if it's been written by some professor somewhere. It probably won't sound as good unless you have guest writers, that's fine. So consistent throughout, consistency in its timing, consistency in its format, consistency in its content. The next C of fabulous newsletters is content. A newsletter is about building the know, like, trust path to sales and more customers and more business. In order to do that, the best thing to be putting in newsletters is information. If you're going to put in information, make it useful and actionable. Also, make it enjoyable and interesting. It doesn't have to be side-splittingly funny, but it doesn't have to be academically profound and world-shattering. Make it easy and make it useful. Know your audience. To know what level to write, to know what sort of things to put in, how light to make it, you need to know your audience. As we often say, who's your ideal customer? Speak as if you're speaking to that particular person. Third C, consumability. If you're going to write something, you want people to be able to consume it, absorb it, read it, however you want to think of that, as easily as possible. So make it an easy style. Make it short rather than long, so if you have a longish article that you want to put in or highlight, I'd strongly recommend you put in an extract into the newsletter with perhaps a link to the full article on your website. People can see the extract. If they find it compelling, they'll click across. I know it's an extra click, but they'll click across and they'll read it, then they're on your website. But if they find that it's just not particularly their topic, rather than read all the way through or skim read or fail to look below because there might be something interesting at the bottom of the newsletter, it's much better to keep it short in the newsletter itself. And also for consumability, we live in a visual world. So images, break up the layout, bullet points, headlines, things like that to break up and let the eye quickly consume what you put in your newsletter. Those are the 3 C's. There's much more about newsletters and how to produce them, along with tips and ideas and strategies of how to build the email list for your newsletter inside the Mums and Business community. We'd love you to join, become a free member of the community now, receive our newsletter and access to a host of information, valuable tips and ideas to help you build a highly successful business while bringing up great kids. Just put your name and email in the box on this page and we'd love to see you join us. See you on the other side. Thanks.